Close the deal, I am the destroyer. I am the chosen lawyer. Training hard to knock them to the floor. I am the chosen lawyer.
Happy New Year. Welcome back. It's 2026, the premiere episode of the Chosen Life podcast. And to honor the start of the year and the greatness of the year to come, one of the greatest human beings I've ever met.
God, here we go.
I am so lucky to have him as my brother, my friend, my colleague, the one and only, a force to legacy, Mr. Lahav Reznik. Lahav, welcome back to the Chosen Life.
Appreciate you. Appreciate the intro. That's very gracious of you, I must say. But it's a nice way to start out 2026. So shout out to everybody. Happy New Year. Glad to be here. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate this.
And so to start the new year, people are having the resolutions. They're thinking about, how to start the year. So we're going to entertain them today. We're not going to get too technical and voodoo on them.
All right.
So this episode actually is going to be all about AI. And when I type into AI, I want to interview the Lahav, and capitals D, Lahav Reznik, a force to legacy, real estate Ontario. What are the best questions to ask him on a podcast?
You didn't do that.
I did it. And this is what they came up with.
Should I get up now or like?
No,
I gotta stick
you
around
signed
with
a
it?
contract to stay. You're not allowed to leave. But before we start, I have a story I want to tell you.
Okay.
It's a really good story. And
This will give me a chance to think a little bit while you tell me the story. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to butter you up a little bit before we
Sounds
actually get to the questions, but it's a true story.
Okay.
The show Lost. You familiar with it?
Familiar-ish. I started watching it in the beginning and it just lost me. So I stopped watching it.
You made a giant error in that decision because if you can get through the first season, it gets a little painful. It is one of the best shows I've ever watched.
Fair. Okay.
My son and I binged it later in life. So once the show was long gone and he found out about the show, years later, because he's 20 years old, just turned 20. Congratulations, Jeremiah at Direct. Shout out. So we're watching the show together and the premise, the plane crashed, they're on the island, got to survive on the island, right?
Yeah.
So Jeremiah at Direct says to me, Dad, didn't say it quite like this, but he goes, Dad, if we were stuck on an island and we had 10 people and we could choose which 10 people to bring on the island with us, who would you pick?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you're going to love this. So you get the idea.
I
Right?
get the idea. Okay.
True story. Lahav doesn't always believe that I love him and I believe in him. One of the first people, if not the first person I said that I'd want on an island with me to survive is Lahav Reznik.
Like, dude, that's a smart move, man. I'm handy. I can build fires. I can, creative in shelter, like the things we need to survive. Yeah, for sure. Like that's, and I know what I'd be out there working my butt off. And so you chose right, man. I like that.
See, my mom always told me, like, when there's somebody that doesn't really have common sense, right? She's like, when God had a lineup for common sense, they were in line for roast beef. You were in line for common sense. Because anybody that's got common sense, it's you. I'd feel secure on this island. Exactly like you said, you'd know how to build the fire. You know how to find the shelter. You could talk your way out of it, figure out what the animals, the natives. Man, I'd feel really good about it. So you were on the top of my list. I also had my mechanic as far as if I need automotive, if there's an automotive on the island, if there's any kind of machinery, what be it, we need to get that done. I'm trying to think of what else. I want to have at least a doctor on there for sure.
Yeah, that's important. For sure.
So we started thinking about that. But the first person that came to mind is Lahav Reznik.
Now, mind you, I
Yes.
probably could figure out a lot of the stuff if it came to medical as well. If we had to cut you open and, take out your gallbladder and stuff, I could probably figure that out. But I'll be honest with you. You know what kind of probably set me up for success if I was to ever be on an island?
What's that?
It was all those episodes of Gilligan's Island as a kid. So many of you out there won't know what Gilligan's Island is. You should YouTube it, Google it, ChatGPT it. Anyway, Gilligan's Island taught you how to survive. So yeah, we'd be in good hands. I'm sure you remember that show.
Absolutely. But, it was fun, fair, light, versus Lost, which felt very real and powerful, especially if there are, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there are natives on the island and how you're going to react with them, how you're going to try to communicate with the outside world. Let's say you do have a radio, it's broken. Lahav Reznik's your guy. So
Awesome.
I would go for you for survival. So
Love it.
man, you're on top.
Love it. All right,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, and there are other people that, Jeremiah says to me, they're your lifelong friends. You've known these people, those people. Would you bring them on the island? I said, absolutely not, because they might be loud. They may be able to talk and they may be able to sell, which we'll talk about that in another episode. but I need practicality. I need to get shit done.
Well, we get shit done, buddy.
So AI.
Yes.
I come to AI and I said, AI, tell us about Lahav Reznik. Would you like to hear
I'm worried.
AI's description of Lahav Reznik?
Not really, but I know you're going to do it anyway. So let's do this.
To interview Lahav Reznik, a Forest Hill legacy on a podcast. Focus on his unique journey from finance tech to luxury real estate. His strategy in the competitive Forest Hill market, leveraging data and tech for Forest Hill legacy. The why behind his niche, client success stories, and his vision for sustainable future real estate in Toronto. Ask about his shift from investment banking, how he uses tech for client advantage, what defines legacy for clients, and challenges in luxury sales, keeping it insightful and relevant to Toronto's high-end market. What do you think? Did I hit it on the ball?
So, ChatGPT, I'm telling you, like, I've got issues with it. It's like 90% accurate. It's like the rabbi at my wedding. See, the rabbi at my wedding thought he knew my wife and I well. We met with them ahead of time
For like 5 minutes, so it tells them the life story.
When he got up and he started talking about us, and he's supposed to be there to represent us and know us, he called us Zahav and Sharon, and he said that I went to U of T and played football. Well, meanwhile, I went to York University and I played basketball for fun. So it was 90% correct, kind of sort of what you read out about. I don't know where this finance and tech comes from. But you know what? If the world seems to think that I'm in finance and tech, like, throw it my way. I can handle it all. Let's do it.
So let's do it. I picked the 9 best questions that I thought there was 12 questions, but 3 of them I was just like, I'm done with this. So I took out the middle 3. Let's jump in.
Yeah.
Category 1, the journey and motivation. From finance to Forest Hill. Lahav, you had a significant background in finance tech before real estate. What was the catalyst for this pivot, and what skills from those worlds translate directly to luxury sales?
So if this is going to go this route, this is going to be easy, because I'm going to go skip to the next one, because there's no background in finance and tech. Am I financially capable of doing things, within the world and the industry and so forth? Sure, absolutely. But I don't know that there was any sort of, studying involved in it, and I didn't work for any finance or tech company. So yeah, we can move on if you want, or I can make up a great story.
This is why we don't rely on AI without doing our own research.
Absolutely.
Okay. Question number 2, Forest Hill legacy. What does legacy mean to you and your clients in Forest Hill? How do you build lasting client relationships, not just transactions?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so that one, that's pretty generic, AI or not. You know what? Like, the concept of legacy for me and for my partners, when we came up with the name, it really drove to kind of like what we're leaving behind. Okay, and you can view that from our clients' perspective. You can view that from our agents' perspectives. You can view that from our family's perspectives. What is it we're leaving behind? What are the memories? What are the thoughts when my name comes up, or Forest Hill's names come up, or my partner's name come up? The legacy that's left behind. What is it they're thinking of? What do we leave as a memory on them? So that was kind of key for us.
Amazing. And so question number 3 from this journey motivation, niche and data. In a competitive market like Forest Hill, so they're very obsessed that you are in Forest Hill.
Sure.
How does Forest Hill Legacy's data-driven tech approach set you apart from traditional agents? So they're loving this whole tech. They really believe it. So please.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take a spin on it a little bit. Like, we are really tech forward. We try to bring to our agents as well as our clients as much advancement when it comes to technology as possible, to try to make their lives easier, make things as easy as possible. And without getting into too many details, we're actually working on something great, AI based for 2026. So yeah, hopefully AI will work well in this sort of scenario, but you always got to be ahead of your competition. You always have to be, sort of thinking forward. And that's ultimately what we've done since day one.
One thing I will throw in, I could say this for a personal endorsement, and as far as my relationship with yourself and the Forest Hill Legacy team, what drives for me, and to me, you set the standard in this industry for a very simple reason. There are many brokerages out there, businesses, that they are AI based and tech based and are virtual, and they're missing
They're
that
forgetting.
hands-on
Yep.
and that personal approach. This is a brokerage. You come to a team meeting, it is standing room only, consistently. No other team I see able to do it like that. And it's that hands-on, the fact that you're here all the time. People can come and ask you questions, sit one-on-one. There's very rarely that I can come to this place and I don't see somebody with a closed door in your office asking you some mentoring questions. It's that hands-on that's the separation, not the tech. So it's nice to have the tech with the hands-on, and then you're unstoppable.
Listen, it works. That's one part of our industry that will always be needed. It's not something you'll ever be able to replace. That, the one-on-one, the hands-on, the face-to-face, we encourage it, we train on it. And for us, it's easy, when we turn around and say, hey, let's meet face-to-face, let's go over the comparables, let's go over the numbers, let's look at the recent sales. Doing it one-on-one sort of trains our agents to go out there and do the same thing with their clients. So very important. And you touched on a great point. So thank you.
My pleasure. No, listen, it's all facts. When people come to me and say to me, if you were a realtor and you know so many places, where would you be? I said, listen, I've known Lahav for so much of my life. I'd be with Lahav. It's funny. Like there's brotherhood and relationships with that.
But again, it's based on the relationship, and that's where we focus it on. So,
and that's what we're going to talk about next week. I'm going to give it a little sneak peek. We're going to talk about sales. Secret, it's about relationships, not sales. So, market and strategy, category number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Toronto luxury trends. Lahav, what are the biggest shifts you're seeing in the Toronto luxury market, especially in areas like Forest Hill, post-pandemic?
Well, post-pandemic, man, you're giving me like 5 years, 3 years. AI. See, I don't know, man. We might have to do this with like real questions. I'll put you on the spot and make you actually think next time, but it's not here nor there. Shifts in trends. The interesting thing is, as rough as our market's been for the past couple of years, post-COVID, during COVID, just after, we had a good, strong market. Everything was happening. Things were selling. Wasn't really an issue. In today's market, where it's been a little more difficult, not as many sales, prices come down significantly. The interesting thing is that the luxury market actually has been holding pretty tight. In fact, certain parts of the city, as well as the GTA overall, they've had some of the highest sales in history in certain pockets. So, those that have and want will spend. Very, very simple.
Question 2 in the market and strategy category. Unique value. Beyond listings, how do you, Lahav Reznik, provide unique value? Example, local insights, off-market access that justifies your premium service.
Yes. You should keep going, because whatever AI is saying now, they're probably right. Again, I come back to the personal touch. That's a big deal. Keep your client posted, managing their expectations, not over-promising and under-delivering. Obviously, off-market activity is always huge. It doesn't matter what kind of market we're in, whether we're in a great market or a horrible market. People sometimes want to feel special, and knowing that you're out there fighting and looking for something that, not everybody else can get. Right? That's kind of key. And especially when you've tuned into what they exactly what they want, and you're able to go out and find that off market, it really, really shows that you've done that extra little bit for them. And people want to be, looked after. So look, our world comes down, bottom line is, somebody likes you and you're good at what you do and you're honest and you work hard, you'll be successful. You could put that into almost any industry.
You want a secret story?
Sure. Yes.
So here's
I love your stories, buddy.
Secret story about Lahav.
All right.
So I'm sitting with a client once upon a time.
Remember, do that again into the camera? That was pretty cool. Yeah.
So I was sitting with a client when
smoldering.
When you used to sit with clients, right?
Yes.
And we're talking, and this person says to me, Lahav Reznik, when you picture Lahav Reznik in real estate, how do you picture him? And I said, I picture luxury homes instantly. I picture these beautiful homes, 5-car garage, swimming pool, waterfalls. That's how I see Lahav Reznik. He goes, me too. And he goes, what blew my mind is that, first of all, I'm going to buy a condo. And he called it a measly condo at like $500,000. And he says to me, I picture this man doing $5-10 million homes. He even agreed to take my business, didn't just agree to do it. He wanted to. And I felt he gave me the same attention on a $500,000 condo as he would have if I bought a $5 million house. He said I was blown away. Like the second we started, he was on it. Anytime I had a question, he came. He was so impressed with you. Did you know that about yourself?
I did not. I'm actually got shivers, so it's a great feeling.
Yeah. Never told you that story either.
No, look, I've always worked on anything. Pretty much like, you've got to understand, again, our world is relationship based, and you're not going to build that by passing on business to somebody else because, you know what, it's just too small for you. You know, and many years ago, I got pigeonholed into what you're going to sell my $1 million property. I thought you only do $5 million, $6 million properties.
Right.
It was probably the biggest realization that I had, being like, no, like I'm happy to take care of you for anything. I'm taking care of you. It's not about the property, right? It has nothing to do with the transaction. It has nothing to do with the commissions. You know, this is something that you need to look at, whether it's a $10 million property or whether it's a $400,000 or $500,000 condo. It's not going to make a difference. You're still going to get the exact same attention, exact same approach. And that is the same thing that we train our agents on. It's key. It's key. If you're going to chase the commissions, at the end of the day, that's all that you're going to be left with.
I remember sitting at one of your award ceremonies with your realtors at one of the galas, and I'm seeing this person go up, and I believe they were number one or number two. I'm pretty sure they were number one. And I remember when they got started in the industry, and all they were doing were leases. The guy was the lease king, and just leases. And the one that nobody wants to do, everybody hates leases. You got to do the most amount of work for the least amount of money. And this guy was attacking leases like no tomorrow. And big surprise, 2-3 years later, he's the top realtor. I don't think that's a surprise at all.
It's not a surprise at all. I mean, you put into the equation, again, hard work, dedication. Yeah, you know, I'm at the office every single morning, and sitting across from me, he's sitting there every morning.
You obviously know who it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a no-brainer. You know, a short version of a very quick lease story.
Sure.
I had a listing for lease in Northtown Way, which is Yonge and Shepherd area. It was probably at the time a $1,500, $1,600 lease, not very expensive. I went to go see a listing across the street on Grandview. And at the time, I got a phone call to go show my lease in Northtown Way. Now, typically, you know, I had a team at the time. They were looking after all my leases, and I would normally have handed it off. And I turned to the guy and I said, absolutely, I'll meet you there tonight, no problem. I booked 4 or 5 other showings in the building because that's the smart thing to do. Showed him my lease. My lease was too small for him. Showed him a few other ones, and on the spot, he turned around and said, Lahav, you know what? I'll take this one. I'm like, okay, great. Let me send you the paperwork. Send him the paperwork, fills it out, fully qualified, showing, you know, a significant amount of income on the rental app. Put him into the place, and then stayed in contact with him as the months go on. Get a call from him 6 months later. He says, Lahav, I'm ready to buy. I need you to get me out of this lease. I said, okay, like that's something you got to talk to your lawyer about, but I can probably help you if you need that, just as a side note. But
because you know more than a lot of
well, I wouldn't say that, but it's you do this enough times, you learn the tricks. Yeah. So, okay, let's meet him at a coffee shop, and he turns around. He says, look, I was in the process of getting a divorce, and so I'm ready to buy now. I want to look at, southeast corner of Yonge and York Mills.
Yeah.
And it was like, ding, ding, ding. You know, you're talking Hogs Hollow, you're talking significant purchase. I've got a budget of $6.5 million. Okay, great. You know, and I'm just trying to obviously be calm. This was many years ago.
Because $6.5 million.
One of my early larger deals that I had done. Yeah. He ended up buying a $7.2 million house, still in contact with him today, all generated from a lease, right? So, you know, this is something where, again, do not focus on the actual transaction. Focus on the relationship, because you never know what it'll take you.
This is really going to lead up well to next week, man.
Yep. Awesome.
Last question on marketing strategy. Challenges. What's the toughest part of selling ultra luxury properties in this market, and how do you overcome it?
Oh man, you know, it's an interesting world. So first of all, they take forever to sell it for the most part. And so you're now having to manage the sellers for a much longer period. And these are savvy, you know, usually extremely educated and usually extremely opinionated people.
I was going to say high maintenance.
Yes. You know, and at the end of the day, though, you can control that to an extent, right? The more you keep them posted, the more you keep them involved, the more that they know that you're on their side trying to do everything that's possible out there, the less that you'll have to worry about that. It's funny because, you know, when we've done training sessions on managing expectations, and one of the keys is you take 3 minutes to make a phone call once, twice a week. 3 minutes. Quick little phone call once or twice a week. That will avoid a 20-minute phone call a week later when you haven't made those calls, right? So,
Thank you.
So kind of deal with it up front. Don't be afraid. And you know, people in the luxury world are expecting this from you, right? You think about it. Yeah, great that you're selling whatever it is, $6, $7, $8 million property, selling it at, call it 2%. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So you better make sure that you earn that. You know, that's one of the key points.
Remind me next week to go into a rant.
Okay. Rant.
I will rant. Tell me the rant next week, and I'm going to give you a rant about that.
Perfect.
Future and advice. Our last 3 questions. We got time. Let's do it. Future and advice. AI asking Lahav Reznik of Forest to Legacy, the king. Let's go. Future of real estate. How do you see technology changing luxury real estate in the next 5 to 10 years, and how are you preparing for it?
Oh, man. Like, again, this crystal ball questions, you kill me. I tell you.
AI is.
Okay, AI is killing me. So first of all, this isn't about luxury real estate. This is real estate as a whole.
Yes.
Let's talk about real estate as a whole.
Perfect.
AI will, in many ways, make things extremely easy.
Yes.
And make things extremely difficult. All right? You've proven it just by the questions that you have based on this, you know, the research that you've done about me. All right? Information that you're going to get from AI will get better. There's no question, but there'll always be gaps, and people are going to rely on AI and not look for those gaps and not look for, you know, sort of what's missing. And that will cause issues. The ease of putting things together, like a copy, for instance, amazing. You know, overall across the industry, my fear is that sellers will turn around and ask ChatGPT or whatever it is and say, you know, I live at 123 Main Street in Thornhill. I have a 3,000 square foot home, 4 bedrooms on a 50 by 140 lot. What's my house worth? Right? And the issue is that that's going to spit out a number, just like how Sigma does, just like a few of these other websites do right now.
Yeah.
They take factual information, they put it into a system, and they come up with a number.
Chrono 24 for watches.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So, you know, we've been able to deal with the house Sigmas of the world and sort of say, okay, hold on. It's missing a lot of variables in there for it to determine, like, are you backing onto a ravine or not? Right? Is the lot irregular? Is it not irregular? How old is the pool? Yeah, it has a pool, but how old is the pool? You know, there's a lot of factors that can determine a price. And AI is not going to be the way or the tool that should be used to be able to determine that. And that's both on the buying and selling side. So, you know, I'm not looking forward to what's to come. There are some great things to make our lives easier, both us sellers, buyers. But overall, from an information standpoint, I think it's going to be a big issue.
Imagine in a world, I'm a lawyer, as I am, or let's say I was a realtor, and let's say Lahav was a potential client. I'm going to meet them for the first time. I asked AI to give me the interview questions of what I'm supposed to do to present to look like I factually know Lahav. So I come in, all prepared. I never looked at his LinkedIn. I never did any kind of real research, didn't ask people. And right away I said, so Lahav, I'm really impressed how you went from finance and tech to luxury real estate. He looks at me, I was never in finance tech. I've lost the room at this point. There's no more trust now because I look incapable because I relied on AI.
Absolutely. Look, you can go into it. This is what I love about it. People don't get this. You can ask ChatGPT right now, who is the top agent in my area? Yep. As an example. Yep. Whatever area you live in, you can name the area. It can geo you, whatever it is. Ask who the top agent is. What it's going to pull from is people who have done what needs to be done to be considered the top agent. Algorithms,
sure,
posting, whatever it might be. Is, you know, they will be the ones that populate, even though they might not be the top realtor. And what defines top?
Right.
You know, so there's these are things that we are still growing and learning, that we're going to have to learn how to ask the questions to AI, how to ask them properly. Because I guarantee you, if you go right back in and you say, was Lahav ever in finance? It might give you a completely different response.
The reality is garbage in, garbage out. Exactly. So when you don't ask the right questions or you don't program the right information to give it a starting point, it won't get anywhere. Right. Advice for new agents. Can I modify this question a little bit?
Please.
Because the question said, for someone looking to break into high-end real estate, let's just say for someone looking to break into real estate, what's the best single piece of advice you would give them? Lahav Reznik of Forest to Legacy.
Oh, single bit of advice for somebody trying to get
They're right here. They're green. They're fresh.
Yeah.
Give me that piece of advice. That one piece of advice, please. I'm trying to get into real estate. I want to do this so badly.
Make sure that you understand the world you're getting yourself into, what it requires of you, whether or not you're capable of doing it, and is it something that you really, really want? The money can be great. just like in any industry. People don't get that. You put the same work that a successful realtor puts into their work. You put the hours in and the time and the dedication and the love. You put that into any field. You really could write your own check. But you've got to know what you're getting yourself into, because this is not for everybody. It's not. And now in times like this, past couple of years of a tough market, we're seeing it. We're seeing agents exit. We're seeing agents park their licenses. It's scary, but if they had the proper mentorship and coaching right from the beginning, they would have either flourished a little bit more, or they would have realized it's not for them and gotten out early.
Remind me to rant next week.
Rant. I got you.
Last question.
Yes.
This is the biggie. They actually call this the podcast closer.
Oh my God. All right.
Love it.
All right.
AI asking Lahav Reznik of Force to Legacy. Lahav, as our podcast closer, what's one thing you want listeners to remember about Lahav Reznik and Force to Legacy? One thing listeners are going to think about and remember.
That listeners are going to think about.
So the listeners right now listening to the podcast are like, man, I want to remember Lahav Reznik and Force to Legacy. What do you want them to remember? One first thing that comes to your mind.
I'd hope that they, take from this that whether it's me dealing with my clients or Force to Legacy dealing with our agents, that we give a shit. That's the bottom line. Like, we care. And that would make a difference in everything that we do.
I could say, if you know Lahav Reznik on any capacity, you need him, you're stuck somewhere, you need him to come get you a thing of gas, you're going to a party, you forgot your shirt, Lahav, can you help me out? You would help almost anybody. You'd give your shirt off your back.
Build a boat, get us off an island.
That's it. That's the guy I'd want on the island with me.
Perfect.
We'll be back next week on the Chosen Life podcast.
Love you.
We all love you, man. What's a love? And next week we'll be back. We're going to talk about what's going to make the right salesperson. We're going to find out the secret sauce.